I was trying to come up with a really funny intro for this, but you know what? Screw that. Let's just jump straight into the haterade. About 2 weeks ago, I uploaded a video criticizing Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I detailed some issues I had with the game, ranging from simple nitpicky problems with things like the item shops and the menus, to how I think the core gameplay is extremely flawed. The majority of comments actually agreed with my thoughts. They said that, hey, you know what, I agree, I didn't like this game either. A few people commented something along the lines of, I have fun playing the game, but I understand your points. I love all of those kind of comments. I can perfectly handle the idea that, hey, I might not like a game that you like, whatever, perfectly fine. But if I had to pick my favorite comment out of every single one that I've gotten on this video, it would have to be this one.
Because then you're just being ignorant on what you're talking about. If you've never played the previous Sparking games, your opinions hold no weight.
Now this is in response to one of my comments saying that I should be allowed to judge Sparking Zero based on its own merits. But apparently, that's no good. Nowhere in the video did I bring up Tenkaichi 3 or Raging Blast or the Budokai series, none of that. The only direct comparison I made was to how other fighting games handle rock, paper, scissors style of combat that Sparking Zero lacked. I wanted to judge Sparking Zero based on what Sparking Zero did, but apparently I'm just ignorant because I lack experience in playing 17-year-old games. Why do I need to have played the previous games in this series to judge Sparking Zero? Do I need to have the experience of being a 450-pound fat ass to know that being morbidly obese is bad? Do I need the experience of watching my wife get fucked by other men to learn that being a cuckold is retarded?
Okay.
Mel time.
Why would I say this?
Mel time.
Okay.
It's
Alright.
it's
What's that?
it's Mel
Oh, she
time.
got the form. Okay, so we're just doing salsa. We're just going.
Won't you lead me in a dance down this winding road? Even when it seems that I don't need you, just know that I am in love. Can't wait to leave this endless darkness.
To claim that my opinions hold no weight on a game that I paid $100 for and invested 50 hours into during the first week of the game is retarded. You know what though? I'll play along with your point. Let's play some Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Let's say for the sake of this argument, I play 100 hours of this game, because if there's something I learned, it doesn't matter how many hours you played a game, it's never enough to criticize it. Let's say I love Tenkaichi 3. I did multiple 12-hour streams of this game, 100-hour straight marathon of this game, like multiple days in a row. It is the greatest game I have ever played. It changed my life. It saved me from jumping off a bridge. It introduced me to the woman of my dreams. Tenkaichi 3 is the best man at our wedding. As I'm lying down on my deathbed, surrounded by friends and family, you know what? Tenkaichi 3 is there too, comforting me as I pass on into the next world. As I drift away, my last thoughts are on how mechanically in-depth the combat was, and how well it has aged, until my soul leaves the mortal realm. Does all of that suddenly undo the issues I have with Sparking Zero? Most of my issues with the game are unique to Sparking Zero. The story mode that is unique to Sparking Zero. The CPU's AI that is unique to Sparking Zero. The shop that is unique to Sparking Zero. The perception stance that is unique to Spark fucking Zero. Am I making myself clear? Why does it matter if I have or have not played a previous game in a series? At that point, no one should say anything about any game until they have 100%ed every other game in the series. Oh, you dislike how lazy and soulless Pokemon Scarlet and Violet look? Well, it's obvious you just haven't played the required amount of hours in Pokemon fucking Crystal. All that being said, I must come clean to you guys. I haven't been entirely honest.
Now let's get up to speed with Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds!
It's all over. Thanks to my skill issue continuous spell card, you'll take 500 points of damage during your end phase if you activate a monster, spell, or trap effect. And since you only have 100 life points left, you're done. I dismantled your arguments and made you look like an idiot. As you can see in this meme, I am the Chad and you are the Soy Jack. So play your last pathetic card and get this duel over with.
You wanna know what's really funny? You're right. This duel is over. But not for me.
What are you saying, boy? Do you actually think you can win?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You think you've been playing me this whole time, but it's actually you who fell for my trap. Go! Trap card activate. Ignorance is bliss. By revealing one game that's over 10 years old that I've played over 100 hours in, you will take 2,000 points of damage. And the game I'm revealing is this: Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2.
What? That's impossible! You admitted that you never played that game.
While it is true that I have never played Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I never said anything about Raging Blast. What I did say was it shouldn't matter whether or not I have played this game to criticize Sparking Zero. I wanted to judge Sparking Zero based on its own merit, to look at it with a clear mind, not tainted by nostalgia. But you didn't want to keep things fair. You wanted to use your own nostalgia against me, not knowing that I'm not as ignorant as you once thought.
That's impossible! My whole argument was based on the assumption that he never played a Tenkaichi game before. But if it's true he's played Raging Blast 2, I've lost.
This whole time you were assuming that I was the Soy Jack, when in reality, I was the Giga Chad. Now take this!
No!
So yeah, as it turns out, I have played a game that is very similar to Sparking Zero. It turns out I'm not just some ignorant retard. I'd argue that Raging Blast 2 plays way more similarly to Sparking Zero than Tenkaichi 3 does. I played this game so much as a kid that my siblings eventually refused to play it with me. I got too good at vanishing everything that they threw at me, and it wasn't fun for them to play it. And you know what, since I'm talking about Raging Blast 2, I might as well compare it directly to Sparking Zero. So the sparking in Sparking Zero comes from the only thing you need to do to fight the CPU. But where does the zero come from? Well, it's to tell you how many customization options you have. The lack of customization items in this game is laughable. Most characters get nothing to equip. Yeah, they have their costume changes, but I want more. Raging Blast 2 might not have a ton of customization options, but at least it has some for every character. A halo, plasma aura, and a ton of different key charge effects. You would be surprised just how much of a difference a simple key charge effect can make for a character. Giving the android's key charge to Yamcha and Tien can make people create, what if Yamcha was an android what ifs. I don't get why this is not a thing in Sparking Zero. Now, I will get behind Sparking Zero not adding in extra moves. You know what, that is fine. It allows them to focus on the few moves each character has and make them look as good as they possibly can. That's okay. But still, some attacks like Goku's Meteor combination are missing. Oh, but maybe they're saving that for the end of Dragon Ball Goku Teen as DLC. And on top of that, some attacks in Raging Blast 2 still manage to look better than they do in Sparking Zero. Not in terms of the graphics, but in terms of, the camera angles and the impacts the hits have. Now, obviously, not every single attack in Raging Blast looks better than they do in Sparking Zero. Not all, Chaz. But I figured, hey, since I'm already doing the small compare and contrast, here are just a couple of moves that do look better in a game that's, 14 years old at this point. All those things I criticized Sparking Zero on, the lackluster story mode, the crappy AI, all of that? Well, it turns out that people have those exact same issues with Raging Blast 2. It's almost like this entire lineage of games have been mediocre 6, 7 out of 10 games at best. Like, I know IGN is laughably stupid 99% of the time, but there's that 1% where they actually nail it, and they nailed it with Sparking Zero. Now look, if you were hoping I would go super autistically in depth with all of the mechanical differences that these two games have, look, I won't.
So that was a fucking lie.
Detailing each and every change is a bit beyond the scope for this project. You wanna know why I didn't bring all of this up in my original video? Because I understand just how strong nostalgia is. I didn't want my love for a game I played a lot as a kid to cloud my judgment for this newer game. The sad truth of the matter is the stuff we used to like might not be as good as we remember it being. I used to think that Attack of the Saiyans was the best RPG ever, but as I've replayed it and played other RPGs, I've come to see its flaws. It has some pacing issues, the animations do look great, but they take a long time to finish, especially if you're using Yamcha's Wolfang Fist all the time, and it sucks that the only secret extra boss in the game is Broly. The game is good, but it's not the perfect game I used to think it was. Tenkaichi 3 and Raging Blast might not be as good as we remember them being. Maybe the core combat that these games have always been centered around has been flawed with all the vanishing and crap. Just because this is how games were made 10, 20 years ago doesn't suddenly mean it was always good. Okay, but let's actually get back to a comment.
Then this game just isn't for you. It never was. It was made for people like me who played the previous games. That is why this game exists in the first place. Because nostalgia.
The idea that Sparking Zero was made for older players, veterans of the Tenkaichi series, is laughably dumb.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
How far does your head have to be up your own ass to believe something like that? It's a common practice in the gaming industry to make another installment in a series that's been dormant for a while. Devil May Cry 5, Elden Ring, Mega Man 11, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, Persona 5, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. All of these games have had a large gap between their release dates and the game that came before them. They all sold the most out of their series, but these games weren't made for veterans of the previous series. They were made to bring new people into the franchise as a whole. I'm sure the people who played the previous games did enjoy them maybe a little bit more, but they were primarily made to get new people to enjoy the series. Tenkaichi 3 sold about 4 million copies total worldwide, and Sparking Zero managed to sell 3 million in one day. I guarantee that if no one who played Tenkaichi 3 bought Sparking Zero, it would still sell great. Sparking Zero's target demographic is T for teen. There are people who are playing this game that were born after Tenkaichi 3 came out, and I guess that if they just don't like how this game plays, that, they're ignorant. They're also too stupid to understand why Tenkaichi 3 is the GOAT. Maybe all of them should try to buy a used PS2 and a copy of Tenkaichi 3 that costs $80 used to learn why, Tenkaichi 3 is the GOAT. Another way I know this game was not made for older fans is that the combat in Sparking Zero is pretty simple. Sparking Zero has been really simplified compared to something like Raging Blast 2. One thing new players struggle with fighting games is learning all of the moves a character has, but more importantly, when to use these attacks. Now obviously, both Raging Blast 2 and Sparking Zero give the player 5 different moves to use, including the ultimate attack. But it's in how Sparking Zero presents the moves that's important. Rather than give the player 5 different moves to use, you only have 2 supers, 2 skills, and 1 ultimate. By splitting it up like this, it makes it easier for newer players to think, this is when I use my super attack versus, this is when I use my skill. Alongside that, making a whole new resource for these 2 moves rather than just sharing the key resource, it splits them up. This is your key, this is your skill. Now new players aren't thinking, should I use my key for a Kamehameha or set up an after image? No, now they just have the Kamehameha with their key and then the skill points to set up their advantage. By splitting it up like this, it makes it easier for newer players to understand how these 2 different things are used. It's a very simple change and might not seem like something that's all too big to the people that have been playing this game, but like I'm saying, to a newer player who's never touched this series, it's a big deal. Perception is such an overpowered stance. Like, how do I even begin to really dig into why this perception stance is busted? Perception is a consistent answer to so many basic attacks, so new players can rely on just one button for their defense. It is such a catch-all, easy to rely on button for newer players. You don't have to think, I need to block this attack properly. Perception counters can counter rush attacks, beam supers, dash supers, it can counter mid-hit, it can counter your opponent's revenge counter. It does so much easily by itself. If you're a new player and you don't really understand how to have a good defense, you can just 9 times out of 10 rely on perception. On top of all of that, you are still able to tech a throw when you're in the perception stance. But not only that, the window to tech the throw itself, it's ludicrous. Newer players always bitch about getting thrown in games like Street Fighter and Dragon Ball FighterZ, so I guess the devs were like, hey, let's make sure that newer players, they can always tech the throw even if they're a whole half a second late. Like, for God's sakes, the camera angle itself changes, getting ready to do the attack animation, and you can still tech the goddamn throw. It is insane, it's ludicrous, it is just It's way too easy. Your offense is also pretty simple too. Mash X, mix up some Ys, and that's all you really need in terms of being a new player. Yeah, the game does have complexity. It has depth. You can do some cool movement. Wow, look at this swaggy ass combo that can be broken out of with a super counter. But newer players don't really care about that. They just want to mash buttons, throw out supers, stop combos, and play a simple game. Obviously, if you're trying to be a super sweaty tryhard of this game, there is extra stuff to learn, but I'm talking about this in the context of a newer player who has never played this series before. It is very easy to learn this game. And you know what? Speaking of throwing out supers, let's look at Raging Blast 2 again. Beam attacks only fire in a straight line in this game. If you're too late with firing your beam attack, it will miss, assuming that they don't just vanish it if it would have connected. So this adds some diversity to the character's moveset. Krillin and Yamcha have an attack that tracks the opponent, and Ki Blast barrage attacks actually have a reason to exist because they home in on the opponent. This doesn't apply to Sparking Zero. Beam attacks lock onto the opponent just fine, so if your character has a Ki Blast barrage move along with the beam, it's practically useless. Also, cinematic dash supers have a much shorter range and they do not hit opponents that are grounded in Raging Blast. If the opponent blocks the attack, well guess what? Only the person who tried the attack gets stunned, so they will be punished for trying it. Look at that. Oh my god, you're telling me that this game has risk reward? You have to take calculated risks with trying super attacks, and if you fail, you get punished for it? Oh, no way. None of that applies to Sparking Zero. Newer players aren't penalized for throwing out supers unless their opponent has their vanishes on point. Just vanish it. Beam attacks will bend at damn near 90-degree angles to hit their opponents. Dash supers have a far longer range. They're like 5-6 times the length that they are in Raging Blast 2, and they will always hit the opponent even if they're on the ground. So you have to try to make your super attacks miss in Sparking Zero. And you know what, since I'm talking about the combat again, let me try to break down why people always devolve into spamming the basic Ki Blast in Sparking. They do this because it is the easiest, lowest risk, most cost-effective way to beat the perception stance. As I demonstrated earlier, the perception stance is really powerful. So, how do you beat the perception stance? Well, the Ki Blasts are some of the only attacks in this game that cannot be perception countered no matter what. So this ends up being the most logical response to beating the strongest defensive option your opponent has. If they do connect with their Ki Blast, you can follow up with a super attack or just keep laying into them for easily a whole health bar of damage. And if they block them, well, you spend a low amount of ki trying it. Or, guess what? You play a character with an unblockable ultimate attack, so it doesn't matter if they block it or not. If they try deflecting the Ki Blast, then they are locked into the animation, and they can't turn with the opponent, so eventually the opponent will get behind them, open them up, and there you go. And if anyone tries to tell me that you should just play UI or Beerus to beat the Ki Blast spam, that doesn't really work. Their auto dodge is not good enough to avoid every Ki Blast. The only consistent thing I found to beat this strategy is using a character with a barrier skill. That's only a select few characters, and properly timing the barrier is tricky. I'm sure that there's some specific character that perfectly counters this strategy, so the meta might as well just be solved. Z-Broly or Kale, Bojack or Bobbity, and Yajirobe. Wow, this is such a fun game that completely centers around one of the most boring strategies I've ever seen in a fighting game. Well everyone, the time has finally come. It is EVO Grand Finals. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero 2025. We have been waiting for this moment for so long. Muscular Alligator is my co-host, and right now we are gearing up for what's possibly going to be the hypest Grand Finals Evo has ever seen. Muscular Alligator. We've seen a lot of hype gameplay today. Lots of Z-Brolys and lots of Kales, and so much skill. Did you know?
I think we've seen a Ribian in that whole bracket.
A few Ribrians, but thankfully she got bounced out of the bracket early on. Now, Muscular Alligator, did you know some people were actually asking for Z-Broly and Kale to get banned? And do you wonder why? That they were asking for those characters to get banned? Because they're too good. But really? This is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. It's supposed to be unbalanced. Do you want to know what everyone has responded to when people say Z-Broly and Kale should be banned? Two words.
What?
Two words that the FGC knows and loves with all of our heart.
Get good.
And skill issue. Oh, look, it looks like Grand Finals is about to start. Oh, okay, Grand Finals is about to start. So who are the characters going to be? It looks like Another Z Broly mirror match. Let's go. The 100th one today. Oh, it's the 100th one today. Yes. Like, it's so amazing. I cannot wait. Z Broly's not going to hold anything back. Z Broly's not holding anything back. This is possibly going to be the hypest mirror match we've ever seen. This is going to be just as hype as that Bayonetta mirror match from Smash 4. Do you remember that, Gator? The crowd went wild.
That was great.
Okay, so they're both charging up their key. Little T-backs for oh my god, holy shit, oh dude, oh my god, the maneuverability, the skill, oh my god, this is possibly the most skilled gameplay I've ever seen. Oh, he's charging his key, fire off some key blasts, okay, Z Broly, no, they're charging the key again, oh my god, no, Z Broly can't do anything, he's locked down, oh, this is the most skilled gameplay I've ever seen. Oh wait, they both have pack wrapped him. Oh, he got
he got him! He got him! Look at the skill! Look at the skill! Oh my god, this is like an anime.
Oh my god! Dude, this is the best thing ever! I can't believe that they're...
Oh my
Gator,
god!
can you... Oh, dude, it's unblockable! Come and attack! Holy shit!
He's doing it! Let me put you out of your misery.
Gator, can you believe that there are people that are asking for this game to be balanced? Do you believe that there are people who think, oh my god, that's dead! That's dead!
He's dead!
Oh my, there were people out there that genuinely think that this game is not a skill-based game. Also, in case you were wondering, no, this strategy does not work in Raging Blast 2. Not only are you unable to fire off more than 5 key blasts at a time, but the game also makes sure that firing off the basic key blast is kind of expensive. But at the very least, in Raging Blast 2, firing off basic key blasts can trigger After Image Wild Sense, so, you know, that kind of makes sense. That's a balancing tactic. Also, I have nowhere else better to say this, but Raging Blast 2 also manages to do the beam struggles better. The game actually tells you how good you and your opponent are doing. You get an actual number to look at, unlike in Sparking Zero where it tells you none of that and you only know the conclusion after you've lost or won, which I just don't like. Raging Blast also does tagging in better in my opinion. You and your opponent to battle in a QTE. Whoever gets 3 out of 5 of the button presses, wins the exchange. That's fine. It also doesn't do the whole where the hell is my opponent bit, which is just one of the worst aspects of Sparking Zero. That whole thing is just unforgivable in my opinion. But Chaz, you're taking this game too seriously. Stop being such a sweaty tryhard. There's no frame data to learn in this game. Just enjoy it. Just, don't take it too seriously. Don't think about it so much. You're just trying to be mad at the game. Just have fun. Fun. To be clear, this is not me attacking the people who have said, I have fun with this game, but I see your points. Look, anyone who has said anything like this is spared from my wrath. I have no issues at all with people enjoying games that I do not. But the idea that I should not look at a game critically is just dumb. Why can't I analyze and critique a game and have fun with it at the same time? In fact, I actually have an in-game example as to why we should look at things critically. My first example of this is Kid Trunk saying no cap.
If you can punch me in the face, I promise I'll take you to that amusement park you're always going on about.
No cap? Let's go!
He should not be saying this. This is so cringe and stupid. This does not belong in the Dragon Ball universe. But at the very least, I can understand the thought process behind this one quote. He's a kid and kids say stupid cringe shit. Ha ha ha. But there is one of these win quotes that when you think about it for 5 seconds, you will realize just how dumb it really is.
I did it! See how you like the death pose!
Now your reaction to hearing this for the first time is most likely to laugh. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, yeah, oh my god, that's so funny. Yamcha referenced the death pose. Crater boy go bird. Ha 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 ha, oh my god, death pose, it's so funny. But let me ask this, how is Yamcha aware of the death pose? How does Yamcha even know that this is something to point out and ridicule to begin with? He was fucking dead. He couldn't possibly know how he looked when he died or that it was something to shame. The anime showed his death on TV, so what, do they just rerun the news broadcast of the Saiyans attacking Earth and he just sees himself die one day and thought, oh damn, I look kind of funny in that pose. Oh wow, Krillin crying over my dead body. That's so funny, Krillin, why aren't you laughing at the death pose? This joke makes no sense beyond death pose the meme. On top of that, the humor should come from seeing the pose itself, just pointing it out and be like, haha, death pose, that's not funny. Dragon Ball FighterZ did this bit perfectly, not only because seeing Nappa in the crater is a funny sight, but also because Yamcha's reaction to this isn't him ridiculing Nappa. He's not just going, oh haha Nappa, how do you like the crater? He's a bit showboaty, yeah, but he's won the fight, he's confident in his abilities, he doesn't need to bring attention to the pose itself because the pose is humiliating enough. Raging Blast 2 practically had the perfect win quote for this exact fight.
I won't fall for that again!
Yamcha triumphantly says he's not falling for the Cyberman's trick. When he's ready for it, he can 100% win. He's saying that the only reason the Cyberman won to begin with was because he relied on that dirty trick, which is true. It shows off his confident attitude while also adding in his ability to learn from how he's failed. But Sparking Zero completely shits on this idea. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but this quote does not feel like Yamcha. This feels like someone had to write for Yamcha for the very first time. All they remember from him is ha 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 death pose and thinks, oh, wouldn't that be hilarious? Yamcha references his own death pose. I'm sure the fans will love that. This is the most surface level bad fan service I have seen. I've seen a lot of bad fan service, but this just takes the cake. People thought that Yamcha's death pose in the baseball episode of Dragon Ball Super was bad, but this is far worse. At least seeing Yamcha playing baseball and doing the death pose, at least we get to see it. But Yamcha calls attention to the Cyberman in the death pose, but we don't even get to see the Cyberman. In a lot of ways, this win quote perfectly sums up my issues with this game as a whole. If you look at it at a purely surface level, it doesn't seem all that bad. Ha ha ha, it's funny. Wow, the combat, it looks so flashy and cool, like everyone's teleporting around. Oh, it's just like the anime. But once you think about it critically, it falls apart. The combat looks flashy and cool, but once you start to break it down, you learn that the best ways to win are to just use these boring cheese strategies. Take what the game gives you and abuse it as much as you possibly can. Sparking Zero is, for lack of a better word, stuck in a dead zone between Xenoverse and Fighters. Xenoverse is a very good casual game. It's got a ton of content and a lot of replayability for casual players. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot to unlock, and there are many moves to try out. But it's not a game that's meant to be played competitively, whereas Dragon Ball FighterZ has very little casual-oriented content. The story mode in Dragon Ball FighterZ is one of the worst story modes I've ever played. It is so bad. It's one of the worst and most mind-numbing experiences I've ever played, and I've had to play it like 3 or 4 times to unlock Android 21, for each different copy of the game I've had to get. And after the story mode, there is very little to unlock. Yeah, there are cute emotes, different character colors, but beyond that, there's nothing. That being said, it's a very fantastic competitive game. It's got a lot of depth, great characters, cool mechanics, and it's a high quality fighting game. Sparking Zero doesn't have enough casual focused content to keep the Xenoverse fans around, and it's not competitively oriented enough to entice the Fighters crowd. So in the time of making this video, it turns out that 90% of Sparking Zero's player base has gone away. Now, that is to be expected. Not every single game is going to retain huge numbers after its release, but that's just such a huge decline. So yeah, you know what? I feel validated with that one. Like, wow, Chaz, you fucking called it. Good job. Look, I understand that Sparking Zero, it's a month old. It's gonna have DLC content updates. Dragon Ball FighterZ and Xenoverse have been out for well over 6 years, but as of right now, Sparking Zero doesn't have enough. When a casual player is done playing the story mode, what's there to do? Hop on ranked? Like, that's it? Oh, there's no cool unlockables, there's no cool cosmetics to earn. They just get to what? Go online and fight another Z Broly player spamming Ki Blast? Or how about this? They go into a custom mode that is pretty clunky to learn. They have to spend 3 or 4 hours in there to put together a custom battle. And then the battle itself is just the exact same combat all over again. Here's the thing, I'm not critical over this game because like I had a massive hate boner for it from day one. I'm not some toxic Xenoverse fan that glazes it up. I'm not some Dragon Ball FighterZ fan that thinks that every single Dragon Ball game should play like DBFZ. I really wanted to like Sparking Zero because I have many fond memories of playing Raging Blast 2. And then when I finally got Sparking Zero, I wasn't satisfied with it. I played 50 hours of it within the first week that it was out. I didn't watch anyone else's review of it. I didn't watch anyone else's gameplay besides, a Twitter clip. And the opinions that I have of it, I came through my own gameplay, my own experiences with the game. I just think that Sparking Zero could be better. Look, if you still like Sparking Zero, go ahead, right? I'm not here to tell you that you liking the game makes you dumb or anything like that. Absolutely not. If you enjoy this game more than I do, it is what it is. But to tell me that the reasons why I dislike Sparking Zero might purely be based off me not playing Tenkaichi 3 or not having enough hours in the game, like that's laughable to me. Even like the skill issue argument, like I get that it's a meme. At the very least, skill issue, it is a legitimate argument. It's someone asking, hey, have you reached a competent enough level of understanding the game to talk shit about it? If someone was playing Dragon Ball FighterZ and they say, oh, I fucking hate this game, it's dog shit, I'm like, oh, do you need some help learning it? And I see their gameplay and it's just them spamming full screen super dash. Yeah, I would say that is a massive skill issue. Do I really need to hop onto another 200 ranked matches playing against another 200 Z Broly players doing the exact same, fucking key blast spam? Just for some people to say, oh, now that he's reached this arbitrary rank, his opinion is validated? I don't need to do that. Okay, you know what? I've been bitching about this game for long enough. At the time of making this video, I still need to edit all this shit. I'm gonna keep this part in because, oh, look at the credits. Look at all these amazing people who support me financially. Thank you all so much. Like, comment, and subscribe. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Spam the key blast on the notification bell. Do the sparking mode combo on the like button. Hit me up in the comments saying you're a retard, Chaz. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I gotta get back to editing this piece of shit trash video. Anyways, catch you guys in the next video. Peace.